Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Happy Sad Confused. I am Josh Horowitz, your fearless podcast leader, and for the next little while, hopefully entertaining your ears, your mind, your body, your soul, your spirit with this amazing conversation with Anna Kendrick. Who doesn't love Anna Kendrick? This girl, this lady, this broad, this dame. She is currently, of course, starring in Pitch Perfect 2, raking in the dough. She kind of can do no wrong right now. I've had the opportunity to talk to Anna, to get to know Anna over the years. Kind of grew up together in a weird way through the Twilight saga. I will always have these connections with the whole cast of Twilight. Started to interview her back then and have seen her do such amazing work. It films like 50-50 and Into the Woods recently, last 5 years, which you guys should check out. And I feel like she's just blown up. I mean, I should mention Up in the Air, of course, too. My God, Oscar nomination for that one. And now Pitch Perfect and Pitch Perfect 2. She's become a star in her own right. She is funny. She is sweet. She's smart. She rules social media. Everybody loves Anna Kendrick, and it was such a treat to welcome her to my office for this conversation. So in a moment, enjoy that one. If a couple notes, hopefully by now you've checked out last week's bonus episode of Happy Sad Confused with the amazing George Miller, director of Mad Max Fury Road. If you haven't, if you've seen the film, trust me, this is must listen. This is must listen viewing. Just listen to it. You should check it out. It's a great conversation with one of the best filmmakers around, talking about one of the best movies around right now. So go back, check that out, and then come back here. You back? Okay, good. Anyway, that's happening. And as always, I want to answer a couple of your questions. This is a new thing. We've been trying this out because we're interactive, because it's the year 2015. And I want to hear from you guys. And I guess some of you want to hear from me, which is sweet. Thanks. So here are a couple questions. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Sir ZJP Case. I don't know what to make of that, but that's your handle. I'm going to go with it. I'm going to forgive you for that weird handle because you took the time to tweet me a question. Josh, do you have a man crush? And if so, who is it? Or you can just admit that you love Tom. I know who you're talking about. I know who you guys think I'm in love with. You guys think I love Tom Hiddleston. I do love Tom. Tom's awesome. Tom is one of the best. Sure, Tom Hiddleston is a man crush. He's a great actor, a good friend to Happy Sad Confused and my shenanigans, and an all-around swell guy. So yes, we'll put him in that category. I will say my wife always comments on my interviews, my conversations, the way she claims the way I look at Paul Rudd is true love. I claim the way we look at each other is true love. I think it's a reciprocal thing, so let's calm down. But no, I will admit Paul and I feel like always have a very simpatico kind of vibe. And it's always a treat to talk to him. He will hopefully be on the podcast at some point. Who knows? Maybe for Ant-Man. But we talked recently at CinemaCon in Las Vegas. You can check out that interview on the MTV YouTube channel and judge for yourself whether I'm gazing at him with what can be considered true love or just maybe I have a migraine. I don't remember. Maybe it was a little love. But so we can put him in that category. Let's see. One other question before we go to the interview. Here is one from Handmade High Tech. What do you obsess over besides pop culture? Is there a weird niche of pop culture that you're into? Good question. What do I obsess over? Well, I mean, here's one that we don't talk about a lot on the podcast. I mean, it's not really... Yeah, it's off the beaten path of pop culture, I guess. Sports is a little bit of its own thing. Big Yankees fan. Grew up obsessed with the Yankees. Less so now. There's less time to be obsessed with the Yankees, but that's a big one for me. Baseball, always big. And then niches in pop culture that I'm super into. Star Trek and Star Wars. Hate to be cliche, but both of those huge things for me growing up and remain to this day. I went to sci-fi conventions. I went to Star Trek conventions. I watched every TV series up until Enterprise. Let's be frank. Enterprise was not much to, talk about. Even Voyager, I kind of bailed on Voyager halfway through, but Deep Space Nine, totally my jam. Next Generation, loved it. Original series, of course. So yeah, Star Trek, I would say, is a niche. I read some of the books. I was all up into that. And Star Wars, I feel like it's not a niche. Everybody's into Star Wars, but certainly was a huge one for me. So there you go. Those are two off the top of my head. I never went heavy into like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and that kind of stuff. I mean, I enjoyed the movies, but I never read the books. It was just never my thing. But certainly enjoyed what Peter Jackson did. So there you go. Those are your questions for this week. As always, hit me up on Twitter. Send me your crazy, silly, stupid, amazing, awesome questions. All you have to do is send it with the hashtag happy, sad, confused. That's easy. Come on. Doesn't get any easier than that. Also easy, I'm the master of the segue, is sitting back and relaxing and enjoying this conversation with the amazing Anna Kendrick. You don't have to, by the way, sit back and relax. You could be running on the treadmill. I'm not telling you to stop. Just continue doing whatever you're doing and hopefully let this wash over you and add to the brightness of your hopefully already bright day. Enough talking? Okay. Here's Anna Kendrick.
So vibrant.
Isn't it lovely in Times Square Parade?
Yeah, that must be a treat for you getting people here.
Yeah, it's fun that way.
It must be a treat for you getting here, as a matter of fact.
We have an office now. Hey, how are you? If anyone wants to be in here, feel free now. Okay. If not, we're going to close the door.
Should I shut the door?
That'd be great.
You're not on camera, right?
No.
Okay. Do you want someone in here? Do you want to wait for?
No, I'm fine.
Security, need help?
I'm fine. No, I'll just put that there. Can I take the pashmina off of ET and use it?
Yes.
It's a little chilly.
Feel free. Yeah.
Is that okay, or is it like it's like a?
That is yes, that is appropriate for you to use as much as you wish. I'm trying to think if I have anything else here to help you keep warm. I don't think my plaid shirts will help you.
No, but this is going to be great. This
You want
is
an
so
ugly
weird.
sweater? Yeah, it's creepy. It's been there for a while. You and ET.
So I'm the first person to.
Yeah, you're the first person besides a stuffed animal to actually wear that pashmina. Although it's a little wrinkled.
Well, it's been on ET.
It's been within extraterrestrial. It really works for you.
Thank you.
It's good to see
Do
you,
I look
Anna.
angelic?
As always.
So good to see you.
It's good to see
Have we
you.
begun?
Yeah,
Has
let's
it begun?
just do it,
Great,
right?
great.
Let's dispense with the.
In case it wasn't clear to the listeners, I just took a pashmina off of a stuffed animal in Josh's office
as is your wont.
to keep myself warm against the harsh realities of this office
and the literal
but
cold.
also
Yes.
that I would like to say that brings up the question of stuffed animals in your office and stuffed animals wearing white pashmina in your office.
Look, I need to keep it interesting over here.
Yeah.
I recently got a creepy
a creepy. Oh, that's
creepy
yeah.
clown.
That's like an old-fashioned creepy.
This is promoting Poltergeist. I don't put any
Sure.
swag in my office, but this rose to the level of this is something to keep. I think.
Have you seen Poltergeist?
I have.
Is it good?
It's all right.
It's a remake.
Yeah, I mean,
Good people though. Great actors.
Worked with
yeah,
my man, Mr. Rockwell.
Yeah, Rockwell and
Rosemary.
DeWitt.
Yes,
yeah,
amazing.
I love Rosemary.
I'm doing a little sketchy sketch with Sam tomorrow.
Oh, great.
That's going to be epic, and
He's a hero.
he's kind of the best human being on the planet.
Yes.
Welcome, as I said before, to Horrible Times Square. So sweet of you to negotiate the traffic.
Oh, my pledge. I mean, I didn't do anything. I sat in the back of a car, tweeting and playing Candy Crush. Yeah.
Oh, that's.
I'm wonderful.
How's the press tour treating you?
It's good. It's almost over. So I'm in that kind of loopy place where I'm just sort of saying it, getting real. Because it is funny when you start, it feels like you are, or at this point in my career, I've begun saving certain stories because I can't just blow my load in the first week of press tours because then people just repeat they're like, we heard there was a crazy story about you and a monkey and he stole your hat. And I'm like, yeah, that's the whole story. So you just told it to me. So then I just go, yeah, there was this monkey and it stole my hat.
And
Like you said, just to be clear, that is an example I'm making up. But
do you make up stories? Have you ever made up one?
I want to so badly.
You're not that person.
James Corden made up a story that involved sort of pranking me. For Into the Woods, and I was like, more power to you. Just get it done. Get it done. Yeah. So I'm fine with people making up stories, and I would do it, but I don't know, just something I can't. It's not like I feel bad about it or something.
No, you just don't think you can pull it off.
That's it. Like I feel
like
I would go.
Or anything that
it would either be shut up. I'm not a writer. God damn it. But I feel like it would either be like something really boring anyway, and they would be like, well, that's not a good story, or I'd just go too far, and I'd be like, and we were abducted by aliens.
That doesn't really add up.
That's not. Hey, wait a minute there, sister.
Speaking of James,
I love Honk.
Do you know? You, of course, of all people, would know and love Honk.
Years ago, my God, I saw it. So it was like I saw it in the round in like a local Connecticut community theater production of it. Not community, like regional. Regional. It was, but I loved it.
I had no knowledge of it. Previous
this is a musical comedy.
A musical comedy. Allison Williams was kind enough to come on the show, and she just invariably brought up Honk, and I found it endlessly amusing. That's the reason for that being up there.
Was she in it, or
I think she talked about it as like a formative experience of seeing Honk and just falling in love with musical theater.
That's so funny.
Speaking of musical theater, speaking of James Corden, I think the last time I saw you was actually at Into the Woods. I don't know if you remember this. This felt amusing and really felt appropriate to me at the time. It was the party for Into the Woods, and I saw you, and you were very kind to say hi.
Yes.
And I introduced you to my wife, which was lovely. And there was a moment where I felt like this is it. This is my place in the universe to a T. Where we were chatting, and someone tapped you on the shoulder, and you turned around, and then you came back to me and said, Josh, I have to go. John Hamm just tapped me on the shoulder, and I have to talk to him.
Oh my God, I'm such a bitch.
No, you're not.
My God.
No, I didn't say it for that purpose. I just felt like it was just like, I got to be in a fun little Hollywood moment with John Hamm. What did John say to you that was so fucking important?
Clearly nothing, since I don't remember. Oh my God. Well, that serves me right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. That party was a little intense because the after party for premieres has changed drastically in the time that people have gone from having maybe one person has a camera on their phone to everyone has a camera on their phone.
Yep.
And it's definitely become more of like a Comic-Con sort of meet and greet situation.
Yeah, you have to be on. You can't just relax.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember that being a funny one because I was like doing that thing where you're trying to make sure that your parents are having fun and they're like, we're fine. And I'm like, you're just saying that. You're not having fun. This is terrible for you. And then of course you're doing the exact thing that everybody else is doing because you're like, well, do you want to meet Meryl? Do you want to meet Meryl?
Right.
And I'm like, oh, I'm just another person doing what everybody else is doing.
Right.
So, you're all kind of in the same boat. You all just want to give, you want to have fun and you want to make sure the person that you brought is having fun. And, that's
There's
sort of how it becomes that. But I'm sorry that I guess
really
I guess there's a hierarchy and I guess John Hamm
is above virtually everybody.
Is above, basically everybody. It's true.
It.
Yeah.
So you're here obviously making the rounds on Pitch Perfect 2, which is going to make $1 gajillion as we tape this weekend. Which is
from your lips. No, I don't know.
No, but it's
not my job to care. So
you've done your part. But this is like an unlikely franchise. This is not.
Yeah.
This was not meant to be this way. Did it? I know it caught you off guard. Of course it did.
Completely. I mean, like the fact that people like refer to me as like Anna Kendrick from Pitch Perfect at all is so shocking because when we were making the first one, it was just like, is anyone gonna see this?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's funny. Like, I read the script and thought it was funny, but like, who knows if people are just gonna be like, oh, it's just Glee, but it's a movie, and why would I pay to go to a theater to see Glee?
Sure.
And to be honest, like when it was announced and the plot was described online, like that's what people said,
Yeah.
So I was like, well, here we go. Hopefully we make something that's worth paying, the money to see in a theater.
Sure.
And people keep asking me, was there more pressure on the second one? And I know what you're talking about, but I keep thinking, yeah, but the second one, we actually knew that people wanted us to make it.
Right.
On the first one, it was like, maybe we're doing this all for nothing and no one.
Yeah.
Exactly 0 people are going to see this movie. And so there was a real pressure to like try and sell it and get people in theaters. And like the fact that people want you to make a movie is a very rare experience.
Absolutely.
Because you're usually making something that people are like, well, I don't know, like is it
trust
good?
us,
What
this
have
is
you
really
heard?
smart and funny and
yeah,
interesting.
exactly. And like, so the idea of knowing that there was like all this goodwill in the world for a movie and you haven't even made it yet was liberating.
Does it feel like, I mean, you've obviously been part of a franchise, as you and I well know. We've both grew up to a degree with Twilight in different ways.
We've really matured over the years.
Not really.
No.
But I do feel like a strange connection always with all of you guys in that cast, because it did coincide with my little career at MTV, and to see you guys all branched out in different ways has been fascinating. I mean, you were kind of an odd case in that obviously the part was small, and you already had some cool stuff going through different things. Like Kristen kind of had some kind of indie cred, like a career going. Did it get more and more weird as that franchise continued, where like the part got smaller, the franchise got bigger, and you're just along for the ride? Like, yeah,
it's funny. I always thought about it as like, they don't really need me anymore. Like I'm getting, nobody is coming to see me. I'm not getting any butts in seats.
Right.
They are coming to see the 3 heroes and like how it will all shake out for them.
Yeah.
And then people like remember that I'm in it when I come on screen. They're like, right, she's in this.
I like her too.
And not even like Anna Kendrick, just like, oh yeah, that character is in this franchise. And so I always felt like, I was like the garnish. I was like, just like if they felt like having, some extra cheese, it was like, well then, let's pay, Anna to come back. Cause I never knew if I was going to, as with a lot of characters, it was like, are they even going to write a scene for me? I have no idea.
Yeah.
And part of me was always like, why would you even like bother putting the kids from school? Like, why would you bother putting us back in it if it's just like, we're going to be in there for a scene and, you just got to pay us for the run of show because we show up for a week. And like, I was always amazed that they even like bothered. So I was like super happy to come back and just witness the chaos.
Did it feel like that affected your career nonetheless? I mean, I would think the big shift, I mean, you can mark different ones obviously Up in the Air and the acclaim that happened there. But Pitch Perfect, like in terms of marketability and the ability to like help greenlight a movie on your own, do you feel like that's been like the biggest shift of when you're the lead in a film all your own? Like, have you noticed something in the last couple of years since Pitch Perfect where like, okay, I got a little more juice and I can do some stuff with that now?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would say that like with so many stages in somebody's professional life, very often it just means that someone is willing to greenlight a movie if you're doing kind of the same thing that you're, in the way that after Up in the Air, people wanted me to play the sort of uptight, business-driven, sort of up-and-comers, and now it's like those comedies that are sort of both broad but smart. I'm getting offered a lot of those kind of things, and it's just about finding one that actually has the spark of Pitch Perfect. Kay Cannon, I think, is the spark of Pitch Perfect 1 and 2, and the reason that it wasn't just Glee the movie, because her wit and intellect like elevated that movie, and so it's I'm not really sure what to do next, actually. As a matter of fact, like I'm sort of reading scripts and going like, I got really lucky with Pitch Perfect, and I don't want to look at something that feels like Pitch Perfect adjacent and assume that people will respond to it in the same way.
I mean, does it? You literally just tweeted this, I noticed, like half an hour ago, and joked about sort of like everybody always bringing up, oh, you're so likable,
so down to earth, so self-deprecating,
like as if that's a surprise, and that shouldn't be the default.
I guess like it's one of those weird things where sometimes like I just did this. It's not out yet, but I just did this like Esquire interview, and like I talk about how like if I'm flying somewhere to see my family or something, like I'll fly coach, but it's like one of those things where I want to say like, right, but I didn't just like offer that up like I should get a fucking medal for it.
Right.
You know, he asked me if I flew private all the time. So I was like, whoa.
Right.
And like was just saying like that's not where I'm at.
Totally.
And but yeah, sometimes I'm like I wasn't saying it as though it should be celebrated. I'm just saying it like it's a fact.
Just like you.
So yeah, I don't know. It's one of those funny things where I always feel really guilty about people being like, God, isn't she amazing? And I'm like, for doing what? For doing what? For being for having basic human decency? like most days. Most days.
Yeah, 5 out of 7 days.
Yeah, 5 out of 7 days I'm an all right person.
Hey guys, I have an important question. Why is it so difficult to find a snack that's both delicious and healthy for you? This is like the dilemma of my lifetime, and thankfully our sponsor today is there for me, and more importantly even, it's there for you. They're our friends over at Graze.com, and they want to show you the tasty side of healthy snacking. Good news is, guys, you can try this for yourself for free, all by using the code HAPPY. So let me tell you a little bit about the service, okay? Graze.com is a snack service that delivers tasty and nutritious snacks right to your home or work. All the snacks come in perfectly portioned packs. They're great for on the go, and they're great for treating yourself without actually overdoing it. And they've got over 100 unique snack creations to choose from. Cookie dippers, pure fruit nut mixes, things like punchy protein nuts with a chili lime twist that's got 7 grams of protein in it. Campfire s'mores for only 130 calories. You can enjoy those. So many things to choose from. The deal is that when you sign up, you browse and you rate all the snacks, and it helps them handpick a personalized box to your taste preferences and your dietary requirements. Each snack is approved by their in-house nutritionist, contains no GMOs, artificial flavors, or trans fat, so you can actually feel good about what you're snacking on. So go to Graze.com, that's GRAZE.com right now. Get a free trial box. Includes 4 of their top-rated and most delicious snacks. Use the special code HAPPY. That's Graze.com, code HAPPY for your free box. Try it. But it does feel like there, you know, and I've seen this in talking to different people over the years, that these things, and you're self-aware enough and cognizant of how the business works to see how people ride this out, where like you are in a wave right now where like, she's the funniest person on social media. She's relatable. She's awesome. She can do no wrong. And like,
I should just get out now.
I'm saying retire like after this interview. No, I mean that's obviously not an option, but it does feel like, does that mess with your head where you're like, you've seen the ups and downs where people like, as much as people like to build people up, they like to tear them down. You're like, are you stealing yourself?
I've been stealing myself for that since like Up in the Air though, because truly, like no one in the history of entertainment has ever just been like on the rise and then like top of their game and it just stays that way forever. Like, no, there are ebbs and flows, and that's a reality. Like, this is a fact. It's not like, no, but that won't happen to you. No, it will. It will, because that's like, why on earth should anyone, let alone me, be the first person in entertainment to be like, no, people just liked her for her whole career. It was amazing. Right. You know, so I know it's out of your control, so you might as well just, exactly. Like, and I've told this story before, but you know, George Clooney talked about Rosemary Clooney as somebody who had this fantastic career, and then like, you know, she had a dip in her popularity, and it was like, but she, especially with singers, like, she didn't get worse at singing. Yeah. She was still just as fabulous a singer. Sure. It was just like, so nothing had changed. It was just that, like, that's just what happens. Right. So, you know, it's unavoidable. Like, there's nothing I can do about it, and it will happen, and that's fine. And you might as well be yourself, as opposed to trying to like conjure up some image that you think that will be torn down anyway. Like if you conjure something up, it's more effort that way. And just know that like it's not because you suddenly became, you know, a worse person. It's just like the way things go, and hopefully if you keep trucking and keep working hard, then you can overcome that. Do you find do you regret anything, like in interviews, in tweets, and Instagrams? Do you ever like second guess yourself? Well, simultaneously no and yes all the time. You know, like nothing that like I can think of off the top of my head, except that if I were to go through any, you know, if you had any interview in front of you right now, I'd be like, ugh, why did I say that? Right. You know. Right. So going back to, because you've basically been working since you've been virtually able
to a degree. Do you think that has helped give perspective on kind of what we were just talking about, the fact that like you were a working actor and I'm sure you had to kind of reconcile with ups and downs even when you're
well, that's
a
the
kid.
thing, right? So like, I mean, since I was 12 years old, since I got my first job, people have been both telling me and writing, you know, sort of in print will say like, well, it's, you know, all uphill from here or whatever that expression is, you know, it's just like, and then I've gone through long stretches of unemployment. So it's not like I've ever... Like, I feel so terrible for the people who, like, come to LA and, like, book their first job off their first audition. And then when they do go through a period where things aren't going as well, it must be really, like, a mind fuck. Right. Can I say?
I don't even know what that word means. Yeah, of course you can.
You know, so, like, you know, thank you for failure, I guess, as the expression goes. Right. Yeah, I mean...
So when and how old were you when you got nominated for the Tony then? 12. So you're 12. So you lose and the Tony. Like for instance, that night, are you like, you're a 12-year-old girl. You're like, I mean, I would think that's rough.
Well, no, because I mean, as a 12-year-old girl, like being nominated, like I didn't know what was happening. Like, I mean, I knew that it was a big deal.
People around you were excited.
Yeah,
so
and it was also cool. Like, it was also one of those situations where Sidi La Loca, who was in The Lion King, was like favored to win, and then Audra McDonald won, but I was really never a part of the conversation. Like, it was very similar in a lot of ways to with the Oscars, where like Monique like gave this, I mean, just next level, out of this world performance, and it was so just about her that year that I kind of got to just relax, and you know, I got to like actually drink at the Golden Globes, and I wasn't thinking like, ooh, what if it's me? What if it's Vera? Like that would have been weird. Like it was actually one of those situations where I was gratefully just happy to be nominated and actually meaning it in both situations, because I just didn't have to think about anything. I was just like, the hard part's over, I guess. Like now I'm just like a nominee, and that's fucking incredible.
So we've talked somewhat.
And my God, if there was like a YouTube video of me giving an acceptance speech at 12 years old, can you imagine how that would haunt me? Can you imagine?
There's already stuff of I've seen you on Rosie when you were 12. I've seen you.
Because I was so like, I wanted to be like precocious and like, just so cringy. So cringy. Can't even deal with it.
Let's talk about, we've talked about this in different aspects over the years about sort of like influences, pop culture influences growing up. I'm always curious to talk about like, you know, the films, the music, the TV, whatever people were obsessed with. I mean, you've talked before about Lord of the Rings. Obviously musical theater was huge for you. What am I missing? What was like the key to Anna Kendrick's sole reason of being like at 14? Like what was...
14, I really loved those tattoo necklaces, which are back and terrifying me. You know, those necklaces that, like, you've seen them on girls in the street now because, like, in the last couple of months, I'm seeing them on, like, 14-year-old girls.
Are they ironic now, or are they...
I can't tell. I mean, I'm too old to tell, like, what's ironic, what's sincere. But the tattoo necklaces on girls, which, like, sort of warms my heart, because even the most hideous things, like, make a comeback and, like, and, you know, leave it to, like, a 14-year-old girl to make it look cool now. Ironic or sincere, I can't tell, but like they look great. And it sort of gives me hope that all of my like blunders will come full circle and be cool again. And at 14 I had like an all-consuming, soul-crushing crush on it was unrequited, so it was like all I thought about, and like really like
this is a civilian or a celebrity? Civilian?
No, a civilian. Okay. Funny you should pick 14, because that year was defined by like, this is what that feels like, and I hate it.
Did it manifest in any way? Was it ever? So it was never discussed. Was it ever? Was it sort of?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I want to send you down a sad spiral.
No, like I you know, it's so funny though, because
But I did give you a pashmina from
I
ET,
know,
so
thank
the least you could do.
Thank you. So warm and cozy. I feel so safe. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those funny things where I can't really remember, you know, how much of it was me just not being willing to engage and,
Right.
like put myself out there and take a risk,
Right.
and how much of it was like I was making it so obvious and this dude was just not into me because, it's so hard for you to gauge like something that happened in like your freshman year of high school.
And was that in New York, or was it in
No,
Portland?
that was in Maine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did you move here for the first time? When were you
Well, I
living
moved here while I was doing high society when I was 12. But that was just really for the run of show. And
Right.
my dad was with me. I was a 12-year-old girl. And,
Right.
and I just went back to Maine when the show had finished. And then I moved here when I was 17. So I graduated high school early so I could come to New York. And I was like, renting an apartment like off of some bizarre service because, Craigslist didn't exist.
Right.
And I was like renting an apartment that sucked up my entire, salary that I was getting for a little night music at Lincoln Center.
Sure.
I don't know, just like trying to be like, thank God social media didn't exist, because I was so trying to be like, this is great, and I'm 17 and I'm living in New York and I'm, living my dream, but it was terrifying.
Did you have like a friend group? Were you like,
Well,
that's a lot to handle.
because I didn't know anybody in the city, and I was mostly just hanging out with the people in the show who were, grown women, men and women,
Right.
Who
You
were
and
very
Jeremy Irons
cool.
weren't hanging out every night.
Jeremy Irons. I remember like the young people in the cast, which like now I think about it and I'm like, oh boy, I'll bet some of those guys were younger than I am now.
Right.
I just thought they were like the coolest, and I think they like probably conversations like this happened like, should we ask Anna to come out? I mean, yeah, I feel bad. Yeah, okay. Well, let's ask her to the dinner, and she's only 17, so we'll go out for drinks afterwards. But yeah, I think that'd be nice.
And then you burst through the door.
I'm like,
What,
"Hi,
guys? What?
What's going on? What's going on? You guys want to hang out? Do you guys want to hang out?"
And was Rocket Science the first time you were at Sundance? Was camp at Sundance?
Camp was at Sundance.
Yeah.
So camp and Rocket Science. Sundance camp was a great experience for me in a lot of ways. Obviously, it was a great experience because it was so well received at Sundance, but it was also a real learning experience because it taught me that Sundance is not a gauge of how well something will do in the real world, because standing ovations for camp at Sundance just couldn't have played bigger. And, that movie just made $0 because it was a movie about freaky children who love musical theater. And, but in many ways was very dark. It wasn't like Pitch Perfect. It wasn't like just celebratory. And it was like dark and weird and about little freaks. So it's one of those things where like to this day, people that I've worked with have said like that movie helped me come out to my dad, and like so it meant something to a lot of people, and that's why we got the reaction that we did at Sundance. But it wasn't ever going to be one of those movies that meant something to a lot of people, like a large audience. And so when we went with Rocket Science, again, huge reaction, couldn't have played better. And everybody else was like, guys, like, this time next year, like, we're not even going to be able to walk down the street without. And I was like,
Smokey, I've been through this before, guys.
I don't know, guys. Don't get your hopes up. It's a weird movie with, once again, an unknown cast.
Right.
Like Camp. Like, it's hard to market a movie and open a movie with an entirely unknown cast, which we were.
But that one did arguably, at least for you and some.
Oh, for me, yeah. In terms of my career, like, meant tons. Like, most of the work that I got, like up until a few years ago, was filmmakers who had seen me in Rocket Science. And I just got to make a movie with Jeff Blitz this year. I finished it last Friday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You've been, you tend to, I know this because I'm often, checking in with Team Kendrick about what you're up to trying to do silly things with you. So, and so I get a sense for this, and I have a good sense that you're kind of always working.
Yeah.
Like
we're not just avoiding you, Josh. I am
you.
always working.
No, because you did the Accountant.
The Accountant, yeah.
Is it just sort of like, this is strike while the iron's hot? I feel like all these great things are being offered. I can't say no. Do you need some time off?
Sort
are
of.
you
I
dying
do.
out there?
Funnily enough, on the way over here, my publicist was like, why am I getting Google alerts that says Anna Kendrick taking a 6-month break from acting? And I'm like, what? When did I mean, sure, that'd be dope. But like, that's not, what are you, that's a whole other issue. But I'm not comfortable, I guess, like taking intentional breaks. If they happen, fantastic.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I ever like say like, guys, like, I'm sorry, but I just need these 3 months. I need to just have some me time. And what's happening right now, of course, is that every available second is like, well, if she has 2 weeks, like, can she come and do this small role in this movie or, this and that. And so I guess it has led to increasingly crazy scheduling stuff. And just because I'm like doing so much, then there's stuff that my heart is like just breaking because there's things that people want me to do the 1 week part in something that like sounds amazing, sounds potentially disastrous, but also potentially really great. Like I'm like, I want to do it all because it's all I've ever fucking wanted. Yeah. So the idea of like strategically not doing something is so backwards. Yeah. Because like this is all I ever worked for and ever wanted. Like this is why I like moved 3,000 miles away from everything I know and loved, and like to get to work with these kind of filmmakers and be in these kind of things, and like and lived, like my cable went out because I stopped paying the bill, and I just didn't have cable for a couple years, and sometimes the lights went out, and sometimes it's like, so then now like the idea, it's just so bizarre, the idea that I wouldn't do something as part of a strategy when it's like that wasn't part of it. That wasn't part of the dream, the strategy. Well, so it's just like, being offered to go and play with like Sam Rockwell and, J.K. Simmons, Ben Affleck. Like it's unbelievable.
And is there a sense that, like, for instance, I know you're doing this book, you're going to do a collection of essays. Yeah. So it's like, and Frank, like that could be said to be like, well, that's kind of a left turn or something. And like, there are all these, I'm sure like that's an opportunity that probably, I don't know if that organically happened or it came out of nowhere, but like, I would imagine you're also at a point where you're getting bizarro offers that you would never even have considered, like host a show and that kind of a thing. So is there a sense of, it's kind of interesting because we're living in an age where I guess more than ever you can do that kind of stuff and still be accepted as an actor. You know what I mean? Like 5 or 10 years ago, hosting a one-off show or doing a book, it's like, what are you doing with your career? But now it's kind of like everything's equal. It doesn't matter. Yeah,
that's interesting. Like, I mean, the book, I feel like the only, like, I've always thought with like filmmaking, people ask me, you want to write something, direct something, and I don't have that impulse, if I'm honest. Which isn't to say I won't ever, but right now I don't, because I've always felt like the only reason that I would have to put something of my own out into the world would be to say something that I feel like I would want somebody to be brave enough to say it so that I could go, oh my God, that's me. That's totally, I do that. And I feel like that's something, like I feel like people, as they do sort of talk about like me being like down to earth and self-deprecating, and I feel like I'm the girl, like you look at somebody like Lena Dunham who just does that on another level, and I feel like so inspired by her and so grateful that she's in the world, because I'll say I haven't shaved my legs in a week, but she'll take a picture of it and put it online. Right. And I feel like, there are plenty of people who want to go like, yeah, but who wants to see that? Like, oh, shut up. I think it's incredible, and she's just so brave, and, I feel like if I could do like 1% of what she does, then that's worth trying,
What about, here's my unsolicited idea, who knows, this kind of thing could have been floated already. I feel like I'm predicting you and or Dwayne Johnson hosting the Oscars together. This is what I want to see.
Oh my God, yeah. If I could just ride around on his back the whole time, that's my dream.
I feel like...
If he could just be Hodor to my Bronn.
There's...
Oh my God. Yes.
There's a sight gag to begin, and then it's just sheer comedy for 4 hours.
Oh God.
Would you ever...
you're making my day.
Would that be...
like hosting an award show like that, like I suppose never say never, but oh my God, you've got to be insane to do that. It's the Kobayashi Maru. Like no matter what
I love you for that reference.
No matter what you do, you're so screwed. Like, and that's how I felt on a smaller scale about doing SNL. I was so scared because that I felt was the exact same thing where you cannot win. It is designed that you cannot win, because no matter what, one person is going to say it's the best episode of SNL they've ever seen. Another person's going to be like, and you officially ruined SNL. You are the nail in the SNL coffin, and you're the reason that it all went down. Like, every episode of SNL I've ever seen has had comments like, oh my God, I thought that was so funny, and other people going like, that was so cringy. I can't believe that, Melissa McCarthy, like, there are people who hate Melissa McCarthy, there are people who are going to hate me. Right. And so, like, SNL was as far as I'm willing to go in that sense. And certainly I think hosting, like, anything, Emmys, Oscars, Tonys, like, it's the same.
Yet I bet I'm not trying to get in your head or anything. It's that, like, for SNL, for instance, in the abstract, like, one could be afraid of it, and then it's like it's at your feet. Like, how can you say no?
How can you say no?
You know what I mean? Like, it's like
I know that's I've like jokingly told the like talent booker, I was like, don't ever make me do this again. Please don't ever offer it to me again, because you can't say no.
Yeah.
Because you cannot say no. I mean, and here's the thing about even saying that is, and it's the thing that I think about in every interview, and it's like what I've been in the back of my mind during this interview and every other, is like, you know, that anything can be like taken. So I'm saying jokingly so that someone's like, Anna Kendrick has asked and vowed to never do it again. Like, no, please don't take anything from this interview and make it like a tiny quote that means something completely different. But but you do.
Luckily, I at least don't have the time or patience to cut this up into things, so it's going to run unedited. But if someone is industrious and wants to make you sound like yeah, exactly. You worked with Krasinski also as a director recently.
He's a hero.
Those guys, that couple.
Amazing.
I mean, they're so annoying.
They're so cool. And Emily, like, which is so annoying of me to think this, because like it's, I like looked at Emily and was like, she's going to be like icy and British and beautiful and unapproachable. And she's, and instead, she's just like the funniest, coolest, like, I hate myself, but so down to earth, so self-deprecating. But she is just like brutally funny.
Yeah.
And, they're a match made in heaven, because he is all the same things.
When and where did you learn of the Kobayashi Maru? Is this from childhood, or did you catch up with Star Trek later?
I caught up with Star Trek later. When I was, was it Next Generation? Was Picard?
Yes, that's Picard. Yeah.
Next Generation, and I didn't get on board with that. I was always Star Wars over Star Trek,
right.
and the J.J. Abrams films are just absolutely fantastic. So yeah, it's not like a long-term thing that was always in my brain. It was it's I think of Zach Quinto doing it.
Right.
So
okay.
Let's not.
You get a bit of respect, not my whole.
Yeah. Let's not think that I'm any better than I am.
Right. No. We put you back in your place.
Yes,
Good.
Please.
Congratulations.
I'm a filthy casual is what I am.
Congratulations on dropping in Kobayashi Maru and making it sound like you knew what you're talking about.
Thank you very much.
And less importantly, congratulations on Pitch Perfect 2.
Thank you very much.
I'll see you soon, and thank you for finding your way to my silly little office. And you can keep the ET pashmina if you want.
That's a step too far. I'm going to put it back on him because he looks cold.
Very sweet of you.
Okay.
Good to see you, Anna.
Good to see you, Josh.